Hello there! It's Delirious here. Sorry, it's been a while. I've been pretty busy doing my own thing. So I wanted to bring to you like a story time type video. So what I'm going to be talking about is Anthrocon 2019, which is about 6 months ago. And I'm going to tell you why it was the worst con ever. So it started off with scheduling it. So I wasn't 18 at the time. So getting a hotel and shit like that is difficult because they will not let you sign for it if you're under 18. So first of all, finding an adult to get you a room. I had it pretty well organized, but a week before, they had to cancel. So it was like, what do I do? So thankfully, we had a friend who was overage who could sign in for us. So, like, bless her, I love you. So that was out of the way. It was still a huge inconvenience, but it was dealt with. We booked a certain hotel because I thought somebody else was getting that hotel, but turns out they didn't get that hotel. And let me tell you something. This hotel was fucking far away from the con. So many hotels that we could have gotten closer to. I would have paid extra to get a closer hotel, even if it had to be like some luxury suite. So the walk from con to hotel was unbearable. I don't know why they want to have Anthrocon in July, where it's like fucking hot, like hella hot. You're in a fursuit, and it takes like a 15-minute walk down to the con. By the time you get to the convention, you're like, well, fuck it, let's go back to the hotel. I'm tired. It's just a minor inconvenience. Could take a shuttle, but they only run certain times, and it doesn't really conflict well with my schedule. So that. So finally, after a 6-hour drive, when we get to the con, so I said, let's go get registered. We'll go do that first thing so we can just get that done and over with, because it's so anxious to me. And for very good reasons. So I decided to wear my fursuit Jax because he's a little bit lighter. He's kind of like my comfort. So I was like, yeah, I just decided I'd wear him down. Which was an awful mistake. So when we got to the con, we went out to register. We knew where it was. We've been here before. As I get down there, I handed my like ticket register shit that I printed off. I was like under 18, so I needed like this parent sign thing, which I had. But at the bottom, there's a notary signature that's needed. Most cons will have a witness signature, which is fine. I understand why the con needs a reliability signature. Like, they're taking on these kids, you know. I get it. I do get it. But the issue is, a notary, that's like an actual legal signature. And that could go anywhere from like $30 to $100 to get that fucker signed. That I think is ridiculous. That you shouldn't be charging a kid an extra $100 to get into a fucking convention. You shouldn't exclude children because they can't afford a $100 ticket. Sorry, that's for another rant, but that just pissed me off. So here, I didn't get that signed because my mom didn't know what the fuck it was. She was like, okay, well, they just have my signature. That should be okay, right? And I was like, I don't know. So the guy didn't even realize I was under 18 yet until he pulled out the badge card that said minor. So then, since I didn't have this notary sign, he told me to go over to this other lady to deal with that. Let me just start off with saying that she was like dead inside. This lady was terrifying. But at this point, I'm panicking. I'm like, they're not gonna let me in this con. What am I gonna do? Like, I'm in the middle of the States. I'm from Canada. What am I going to do? She's already got like 2 girls with her that are trying to figure something out, because I'm sure they were in the exact same position. I waited for them. They were done. And then I said my thing. I'm starting to tear up by now. I'm like crying. You can feel the croaking in my throat. She said something like, oh, your parents here? Can they come get... And I'm like, are my parents here? No, they're not there. They can't come here. And she's like, okay, we'll call them then. And this is where I was like, shit, because my phone's fucking dead. And I'm like, I don't know my parents' fucking phone numbers. Like, I don't know that off the top of my head. I'm just doomed. Yeah, like, I could come back tomorrow. Yes. I don't know, my anxiety was saying, like, I need this done. I need this done. Which definitely doesn't help my situation. And I remembered that there's a phone number on the parent permission slip. My friend Moochie thankfully lent me his phone, and I called her. I was crying. I'm like wailing at this point. I started mumbling about dying or something like that. I don't know what I was on about. I was all loopy and terrified right now. So thankfully, I had my mom on the phone. She picked up. She was trying to calm me down. And then so I gave the phone over to the lady to talk to her. And she was all bitchy about, oh, you gotta get this notary sign, like, alright, whatever, like, I'm gonna be 18, I'm not going to any more cons before I'm gonna turn 18. Like, I'm sorry, but chill out, bro. I was 20 days away from turning 18. Could this con just be after my birthday? I'm so close to 18. So finally, after all that was done, she got permission from my mom over the phone. So after that whole ordeal, I was pretty tired. I just want to go back to the hotel and forget everything right now. So we decided to take off and go back to the hotel. But this is where things went from bad to a fucking hailstorm. Also forgot to mention that tonight is also the 4th of July. So you bet it was crazy. There was fireworks and there was trouble. It was pitch dark. We didn't know where we were going. My phone was dead, and my friend didn't have any data that worked in the United States. So we just had to recall where we came from. We couldn't use a map, and didn't know how to get back to the con. So we walked, thinking we knew our way back. We tried, turned corners, and about 20 minutes of aimlessly walking around Pittsburgh, we realized we were lost. We didn't even know how to get back to the convention center and ask for help. And by this time, the fireworks started going off, and we're pretty freaked out because you never know if that's a firework or a fucking gun. So downtown Pittsburgh, there was a little festival area where they had like bars, tables, restaurants, lights all coming out, and like a little dance going on in the middle of this like town square area. So we walked through there at one point and just went through it because we were like, yeah, no, we're just trying to find our way back to our hotel. And after a few more circling around the area, we started seeing police cars and sirens going absolutely bonkers. We're like, what the hell happened? Is there fights going on? Is there car crashes? It's kind of crazy today. Because no, that's not what happened. Our worst fear is what happened. Some of those loud bangs were not fireworks. They were a fucking gun. So what happened was, there was some gang fight related things going on. 2 teenage boys were shot in the head. Thankfully, they both survived. But the crazy thing is, it happened right as Moochie and I were walking through that square. It's unbelievable. It blows my mind. But at this point, we still don't know. So eventually, we were back in the middle of the square. Everything was like police crossing, signs were up, a lot of boards up so you couldn't walk through areas, but it was crowded. You could not see what was going on. Like, there was people, but the rest of the area was cleaning up. And there was one worker cleaning up tables, and we were like, hey, we're lost. Where's our hotel? And then the guy, like, looked at us really confused, and he's like, that's like 3 blocks. You might need to get a taxi. We're like, oh, okay, thanks. And he pointed us in the right direction. But, like, a taxi, it's like, well, we walked all our way here. We can make our way back. But eventually, his directions did help us get back. For thank you from the heavens that this man was there to help us. And so finally, we saw a sweet victory of our hotel. Oh my god. I was so exhausted. That entire time we were walking, I was in fursuit, right? I was hot, I felt gross, I was like a mess from crying, and I was crying even more because we were lost. At some points, I was just gonna tell Moochie, I was like, you know what? I just need to lie down and go to bed right here in the street. I don't give a shit anymore. I was exhausted. But yeah, then eventually with the sweet relief of being back in the hotel room and lying down in the bed it was pure bliss. I was like, I hope that's all the mayhem for the entire weekend, which thankfully it was. It was absolutely awful first few hours to that con, and I was like, I don't ever want to experience that again. That was horrible. So then in the morning, Moochie woke me up. Moochie was on his phone looking up things, and then he saw that the news from the area, nothing came out last night, so it just came out that morning. So we were like, what? That's what we went through. Oh my fucking god. We were absolutely terrified. We didn't even want to leave the hotel after that. But, so, the rest of the con went very nice. It was still a lot of tiring walking back and forth. But on that Saturday morning, I got to meet my boyfriend for the first time. We had an amazing few days together. And I think that kind of equaled out all the bad stuff that happened They made it good, so the con didn't end in such a disaster. It was still an okay con, but definitely not one of my favorite cons anymore. I think that experience just ruined everything for me, but I have to be going to a lot more other cons, checking them out, and hope to see you at one. And thank you to a bunch of people that came up and asked if I was okay and gave me hugs. That definitely did cheer me up a lot. I was really hurt, scared, and didn't know what to do, so I do appreciate that a lot. And I thought I was going to start crying when people came up to me. I was like, oh my lord, I had such an awful time. You're making me feel better. Even thinking about it now, I'm like, oh my god, I want to cry. It was awful. So I hope you liked this storytime video, and I hope to see you in the next video.